This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace makes it easier than ever to launch your passion project, whether you are showcasing your work or selling products of any kind. They have beautiful templates and the ability to customize just about anything. You can easily make a beautiful website all on your own, but if you do get stuck, Squarespace has 24/7 award-winning customer support that is there to help. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use the offer code GRACE, G-R-A-C-E, to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com. Offer code GRACE for 10% off. Hello, Jack Ferry.
Hi, Grace Helbig. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Welcome to another episode of Not Too Deep.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you're here. Otherwise, this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Ghosts.
Oh, we're talking about ghosts?
Ghosts, things that freak you out. Also, by the time this airs, Jurassic World will be in the world.
That's right.
And
dinosaurs.
Akin to
Thinking
ghosts.
about things that'll scare you.
Yeah, literally, my first nightmare was Jurassic Park growing up, and I thought there was a dinosaur outside of my bedroom at night.
Because you saw Jurassic Park as a kid and then it traumatized you?
I only saw the scene with the T-Rex and the car getting flipped over.
Such a good scene.
And I had to make my friend turn it off because I was so scared.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that in the theater.
No, I watched it at her house. She had like the VHS when I was in 4th grade, and we watched that. She was showing it to me, and I was like, I can't watch this anymore. And then I couldn't sleep all night. So that was my first like dinosaur ghost experience.
Yeah. It's hard to believe now that this is like the 5th Jurassic Park movie.
I did see in theaters as an adult the last one with Jurassic.
Chris Pratt and Jurassic World, I think.
Was that called Jurassic World?
Oh, no, this one's
What was the one before? It was World, and then they're doing another World. So many worlds.
So many Jurassics.
So many Jurassics.
The one with Chris Pratt, though, and Bryce Dallas Howard. The previous one.
Yeah, I watched that because I wanted to make sure that as an adult I'd fully shaken my fear of dinosaur ghosts. And yeah, success. My biggest fear was her white outfit getting dirty the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
And
she was able to run in those heels, man.
God, I can't even stand in heels. So she's a true icon in the people that wear heels world.
Yeah, but we were talking about things that freak us out, and I heard that you very recently got freaked out by a picture of a ghost.
Yeah, so the show that Mamrie and I do, This Might Get, Marcy, who is our writer, who also writes, teaches and performs at UCB, where our guest that's coming up, spoiler alert, also teaches and performs at UCB. Sure. She was showing us this photo of someone in one of her improv classes, like their younger brother was in behind their house in the woods or something, and then came back in and started like crying and screaming and like, freaking out.
Wait, how old is he?
I'm not sure. I think he's like maybe 12, 11, teenager-ish years. And came in, freaked out. The dad told this girl that was in her class, like, he's really freaked out, and then showed him the photos that he had taken in the woods on his cell phone. And you can see in the photo an actual ghost boy. Like an actual, I wish I had the photo. It's a boy.
This I have to see now.
It is so, and she was like, he's too young to know how to Photoshop this. Like, this is real. And then you swipe over it and it's zoomed in. It's an actual ghost boy in the middle of the woods. Then the other photo is a girl that has like some sort of veil and a dress on.
What the fuck?
And the boy looks like he's from like the, 1800s.
Get out of here.
It scared the shit out of me.
I got to see these now.
Yeah. And now I just watched, by the time this comes out, it'll be old news. Shane Dawson has this new series with Graveyard Girl, a beauty guru from Texas, and she's into all these like old doll things and all these old like things that dead people had. And they go and they spend a night in like the store called like cool oddities or something like that.
So one of those like creepy stores.
Yeah,
you can buy like an eyeball and a jar of formaldehyde.
Yeah, exactly. And like some weird stuff happens, and so that's
really.
Do you believe in
crazy.
ghosts?
I mean, I don't know, to be honest. I was told that when I was growing up that in my like childhood home was like haunted, and like there were stories and stuff like that, and there were weird things that happened, like you put the bread on the counter and then like you leave and then you come back into the kitchen and like the bread is on the floor.
Yeah.
Like the whole loaf is on the like was placed there, and it's like there's no one here that did that. But at the same time, I was like, but it could have been like my sister like screwing around with me, because that is something that she liked doing.
Totally.
An older sister, obviously. So I don't know. I haven't had that experience where I saw something that was just like, oh boy, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. But I do love hearing these stories because...
Oh, that's why we've had the Gabby Show on many times. We've heard so many freaky stories from her.
Yeah, because I mean, like, I'm not like a religious person. I'm not a super spiritual person. And so because of that, I would say I sort of categorize myself in sort of like the agnostic category, but that also means that like I'm open to whatever. Like I don't know. Like
if a ghost showed up tomorrow, you wouldn't deny that.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be like, I must be hallucinating. I must be on some sort of drug. I would immediately think like, oh, okay, well, cool. I guess there are ghosts then.
Yeah, you're open to the possibilities.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, I would find the idea of there being ghosts slightly comforting because it means that like this isn't just it. It's just we're here and then that's the end.
Yeah.
But also the thought of it is also equally terrifying.
Every time I've heard about ghosts, the idea that I've heard about it is that the ghosts exist on this because they're trapped for some reason. They have unfinished business.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah, that there's some reason that they're still in this in-between before they go and move
so
forward.
What was 1800s boy in the woods trapped here for?
No idea, but the photo is so fucking scary.
Wow.
It's unreal. So what a great thing to talk about on a podcast is what a photo looks like. So, sorry guys, if you can't see it. But let us know if you guys have had any scary, spooky ghost stories.
Yeah, please let us know.
That you'd want to share with us. But I also get easily freaked by that kind of stuff. So if you do tell me, I will probably block you. So
a dinosaur ghost would probably be the scariest thing for you because it combines two things that scare you a lot.
That was when I was younger. Now real ghosts scare the shit out of me because humans, it makes it too real to me. Like a ghost T-Rex, if that showed up, I'd be like, oh, that's funny as an adult now, or I'd have some sort of realism to it. But speaking of funny.
Yes.
I think we should just get into this.
Let's do it.
We have Colton Dunn with us today. He is an actor. He's a comedian. He is an improv teacher, sketch writer. He does all of the things. He's a very hilarious human being, and I'm very excited to have him here with us. So let's get into Colton Dunn on Not Too Deep.
Not Too Deep with Grace Helbig.
Support for Not Too Deep today comes from ZipRecruiter. Are you looking to hire someone, but there's, where do you start? Well, ZipRecruiter, that's the one place where you can go where hiring is simple, fast, and smart. Guess what? ZipRecruiter sends your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards. But they don't stop there. With their powerful matching technology, ZipRecruiter scans thousands of resumes to find people with the right experience and invites them to apply to your job. As applications come in, ZipRecruiter analyzes each one and spotlights the top candidates so you never miss a great match. ZipRecruiter is so effective that 80% of employees who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. Those are nuts statistics. With results like that, it's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the highest rated hiring site in America. And right now, you guys, my beautiful, wonderful, so dedicated listeners, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/Grace. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Grace, ZipRecruiter.com/Grace. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Not Too Deep.
This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by my dear friends over at Third Love. Armed with the measurements of millions of women, Third Love bras are designed to fit real women, and I can attest to this because they have sent me a couple of their models, and they are absolutely wonderful. And this is coming from a girl that lives and dies by a sports bra. These are comfortable bras. There's no more awkward fitting room experiences either because they have a Fit Finder quiz that helps you identify your breast shape and find styles that fit your body in less than a minute. You just answer a few simple questions, and they have 60 sizes ranging from AA through G, including half cup sizing, so they guarantee a perfect fit. And Third Love values comfort and quality with straps that won't slip, ultra soft smoothing fabrics, and lightweight memory foam cups. The labels are even tagless, so they're not itchy. Plus, returns and exchanges are always free and easy. Third Love knows that there's a perfect bra for everyone, so right now they're offering you wonderful listeners 15% off your first order. Go to thirdlove.com/Grace to find your perfect fitting bra. Get 15% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/Grace for 15% off today. We're here with Colton Dunn.
Yeah.
Or your full name, which is Colton Thomas Dunn McHenry.
That's right.
Okay.
Nice. How'd you find that out?
Wikipedia.
The internet is this
Really?
wild, wild west.
Wow. I didn't know that was on Wikipedia.
But you do a bit about how you don't go by your first name. Or your
my
full
full
name.
name, yeah. Well, because it's like, Colton Thomas Dunn McHenry. If someone was to hear that name, I don't think they would think of like a 6 foot, 270-pound black guy. I think that name kind of sounds more like a character in like a Ken Burns documentary.
That's very fair.
Yeah.
That's very fair.
Colton Thomas Dunn McHenry died of scurvy.
On the Oregon Trail.
Yeah. He was with Lewis and Clark all the way to the end. How so many names?
How?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Colton is a street that my mom saw that she thought was cool. Thomas is my mother's grandfather's name.
Okay.
Dunn is my mother's last name, and McHenry is my father's last name. And since they weren't married when I was born, they decided to use both of my last names. Gotcha.
Now, how did you get into comedy, improv, sketch, that whole world? Where did that start?
It started in high school. I was kind of a goofball. I actually went to school with a guy named Nick Swartzen, who was also a goofball. And I played basketball, and he was kind of into skateboarding. And the people who skateboarded got really serious about that, and he didn't want to get that serious about that. And the people who played basketball got really serious about basketball, and I wasn't taking it that seriously. Yeah. And then some dude came to our school and was like, hey, do you guys want to learn improv comedy? And we thought that was really funny. And then when we found out that somebody could get paid, not a lot of money, but at the time when we were kids, it was like $40 a show sounded like amazing.
That's $1 million.
And so just to make stuff up. And so... yeah, I decided to do that because it seemed like the less work option.
What, did you fall in love with it instantly?
Oh, yeah. I loved it right away. Like making an audience laugh.
It's intoxicating.
It's great, and everybody is really nice to you afterwards,
Yeah,
everybody likes a funny guy.
Do you remember who the guy was that came to your school?
Yeah, his name was Jason Wooten. Really cool dude.
It's a cool last name.
Yeah, and he did comedy sports in Minnesota, and they had a high school league where it was like comedy sports is like a competitive short form.
That's what I was
going
to say. It's competitive, right?
Yeah,
Which seems counterintuitive,
but it's not really competitive.
It's sort of jokey.
Yeah, it's kind of jokey competition. But they had a high school league where they would pit high school against each other to do improv comedy. Nice. And Jason was our coach and my first improv instructor.
So it was kind of like a debate club where you guys would compete
against each other? It was like debate club. That's where cool. We just made stuff up. Yeah.
Right.
That's great. Was there any sort of psyching out before competition or any sort of shit talking at all?
I mean, a little bit, but again, these teams were made up of kids who found their place on their improv team in high school. Right. So we weren't the toughest bunch.
Yeah, you guys weren't the most confident people walking the earth.
Exactly. So we were just amazed to see other people who did what we did at another school.
Just to feel a connection of community.
Exactly.
Being you feel this way too? That's so fun. And now you've been teaching and performing at UCB.
Yeah, for sure. I taught for a long time at UCB. I still perform there every Tuesday night. And sometimes on the weekends at the ASCAT shows.
What's your show? The ASCAT shows?
ASCAT, and on Tuesday, the show's called Tuesday Club, 7 p.m. at UCB Franklin. But I started there probably in 97.
Jeez.
Wow.
Way back in the day.
Yeah.
And back then you would intern for classes. So
I
went through the whole program by basically kind of being an office manager. Mm-hmm. And back then it was such a low-fi business that we would get paid at the end of the day. We'd take all the money in the drawer and put it in an envelope and then just hide it behind files in a cabinet, and that was the
security system.
That was the security system. Yeah,
I remember that original space.
Yeah, that was a cool spot. It used to be it was a strip club before it was a theater, and so when I worked there, the guys would still
show up.
A guy would walk in and kind of look around the lobby and look in the theater and see a bunch of people laughing. come up to the box office and be like, so do they still do shows in here? Be like, yeah, they do shows. You'd be like, all right, cool. I gotta go. And then they'd walk out. And I'd be like, okay, that guy was looking for boobies.
Did any of the strippers ever come back
and like, is it my shift?
Yeah.
No.
Just wander in, start taking their clothes off. God, that would be so great. What I did the same. I went to the People's Improv Theater in New York.
Yeah,
and
the Pit.
The Pit. Yeah, and did the whole intern for classes thing. And there it was like, it's a little different because it's a much more like ragtag theater of like a little bit more misfits rather than people like pursuing comedy.
For sure.
I remember they had the naked comedy showcase where people performed naked and half the audience was allowed to be naked if they wanted to.
Holy moly.
Only half the audience?
It was a very bizarre thing because they wanted to allow people to be there dressed as well. So I had to, as like an 18-year-old, tell the people that wanted to take their clothes off that they had to sit on this side that had like plastic on top of all the chairs. And the people that didn't had to sit on the other side.
And did people come and watch the show naked?
They did. And they came clothed. And then as they walked into the theater, they just started taking their clothes off. And I was like, wow, this is comedy? Okay, awesome.
Some people just like to be naked.
I was very inspired by their confidence.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people.
Yeah, that's not my thing.
But you taught. Do you still teach?
No, not really. I don't really teach too more because now I'm on a TV show, so I don't need to do that.
I got bigger things to do.
I loved teaching. I taught for a long time. When we opened up the theater out here in Los Angeles, I was one of the first teachers out here, and kind of like taught sort of the first wave of people coming up. Taught for a while with the theater. Ended up like for a while when I was, just kind of out of work, writer, actor. I was teaching out of my house, kind of like my own pickup classes and stuff. It's really fun, but it's just a lot of work, and
what's the
after a while you get
when you're in
tired of
improv, it sort of becomes very all-encompassing in your life.
Yeah.
Because if you're not performing, you're also rehearsing with your team.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that you rehearse for improv. It seems very oxymoronic to a lot of people.
It does, but you can really tell. You can really tell when a group has rehearsed together.
What's the most common note you've given as a teacher, if there is one that stands out?
Why do you think that's funny? Probably like, okay, why did you do that?
So it's like a rhetorical question.
Yeah. It's probably that. Maybe a lot of the biggest one is probably just to be confident or have an opinion.
Yeah. I think that's a great piece of life advice too.
Well, I think so too. When you're in life, or if you're improvising and you want to start off a scene, just have an opinion.
Yeah.
I hate coasters, man. Coasters are dumb, and then just go from there.
Right.
That makes sense. Do you have a standout of the most bizarre student you've ever had, or most strange coaching situation?
Let me think.
I was in a level 2 class, and this one girl definitely was using it as her therapy. So every person in the scene with her became her mom or her dad, and she would turn her back and just yell at them.
Oh my God.
And so it's the only time her teacher had to like dismiss someone from a class. Like,
oh my God,
you can't be in this class anymore. She just came in hot every class.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a good study.
I mean, I definitely, I taught sketch writing classes, and those are a little bit interesting too, because it's not necessarily performers who take those. A lot of times it's just people who want to get into writing.
Right.
And I had this older white woman who came in, and all of her sketches were always about like minorities and like from the minority point of view, and not in a bad way. Like she was, I think, trying to be like cool, but it was also kind of like, this is so weird, and like kind of missed the mark. And what are you doing? Why is it always,
And she's like, write what you know.
And she's
right?
like, yeah, this is what I see on the streets. I want to.
Wow, that's so weird.
Okay, so you've been in Rooster Teeth's Laser Team and the sequel.
Oh, yeah.
You've done a ton of TV stuff with like Key and Peele and Comedy Central, and you're now in Superstore.
Mm-hmm.
I work on the internet and love Rooster Teeth. What was that like for you? Have you noticed like a difference of fans? Because the RTX fans are like very hardcore.
Oh, they're pretty serious fans, man. They're great. it was a big difference, before I did Laser Team, when they reached out to me, because I was the only guy in the Laser Team who was not like a
in
employee
the
of
Rooster
Rooster Teeth, like I was just some random dude who came in. And so for me, it was crazy because I only knew them from Red versus Blue. And I was like, oh, cool. So these guys like make these things. And then you go down to Austin and they've got like 2 airplane hangars.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like full of animators and like,
Is that where you guys shot? Did you shoot in Austin for?
Yeah, we shot both movies are shot in Austin. The first one was kind of shot around Austin and the Austin area, and then the second movie was kind of basically shot. It takes place on a spaceship, so most of it was shot in the studio lot that Rooster Teeth has, where they built all these sets. And so that was already a cool experience to see how these guys have like built up this awesome place there. And then to go to their RTX convention.
Yeah, I've been a couple of times. It is an overwhelming experience.
It's insane, and I mean, the fans take it like real seriously.
It's their
like
life.
It is like the best ever for them. So that's just fun to be around that energy. To be around the energy of people who are so excited about something and like really excited to meet you, and like they don't even know you.
Right.
So it was good. It takes a little bit to get used to at first, because like that's not really my thing to like walk around and have people like, oh, I want to take your picture. And,
Yeah. Did you have any standout, interesting like fan experiences?
Well, one thing I learned really quickly, when I got there, like, cause I tweet and like put stuff on Instagram, and I was in Austin and I was listening to music in a bar, and I like put it on like Instagram or something. I was like, oh, cool. Look at this music in a bar. I'm hanging out in Austin. Yay. And then I like got a beer, and then some people came in and they were like, hey, Colton. And I was like, hey. And they were like, we saw on your Instagram, we've been walking around trying to figure out which bar it was that we saw. And it was this one. Cool. Can we get a picture? And I was like, so it's a little.
Wow, that's wild.
It's wild, but it was also like, oh, okay, that's what this is, that's what this is going to be.
It's part of it.
Yeah.
It's a very intimate experience for the fans that they feel like they know you and that you guys have a relationship and that whole thing. And that's the first time I ever went to RTX. I have gone to like VidCon and YouTube conventions. I was like, it's going to be the same thing. And then Hannah and I walked in and I was like, this is nuts, because we're not part of the gaming community at all.
Yeah.
It was so overwhelming. Then watching Bernie Burns walk around like a Pied Piper and all of these kids just like following him.
Yeah.
They didn't want anything other than to be close to him. And I was like, this is bizarre.
And he stinks. Yeah. He smells horrible. So they must really like it.
It was, they were really putting up with a lot. It was really insane. Are you doing anything else with Rooster Teeth? Anything in the works, or is it all kind of?
Every once in a while I'll go down and like do one of their shows or something like that. But as of right now, no. Right now we're just kind of chilling out.
Well, you're very busy with your television show.
Very busy with that. I'm actually on hiatus, so I'm not busy with that at all. I'm very busy with playing Fortnite.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I hear great things about it. Are you a gamer?
Yeah, sure. I definitely am a gamer, and it's really like where a large part of my friend circle is.
Yeah.
Video games.
When you're on hiatus, do you feel relief or like anxiety that you want to be working?
You know what? It fluctuates back and forth. The weeks leading up to going on hiatus, I'm always like, I'm just going to enjoy this.
Yeah.
I'm going to get some time off. I'm going to work on, my own writing. And then about 2 weeks into it, you're like, why didn't I do anything? I'm not working at all.
Yeah.
The wave of panic sets in.
Like last year I did Laser Team in the hiatus. I did Laser Team 2. And I did a movie called Blockers. Like I completely filled up my hiatus.
Yeah.
And so this time I really tried to like keep it more open, but now it's like,
here comes the
I'm
panic.
trying to like to do whatever I can. I just want to do something.
And here you are.
And here I am.
On this podcast.
Make me mean something.
How was Blockers?
Blockers is hilarious.
Yeah, I see the billboards are everywhere. Also,
you
John
gotta
Cena.
see it.
Are you a wrestling fan?
I stopped watching wrestling before John Cena got in, but I definitely, the guy's great. He's super cool.
Yeah. How was he working on set?
Well, he was great. I never really did any scenes with him, but I would ride in the van with him back and forth to base camps and stuff. And he's a super nice guy. And he's hilarious in the movie, which was really awesome to see.
Yeah, the trailer looks amazing. It looks really, really funny. Have you guys been doing just like a ton of press for that? Or is that kind of wave?
Me? Well, I play a limo driver in it. So
you're at every junket.
So they got me everywhere, going out, talking to all the people.
Everything.
Not too much press on my end, but they definitely had a pretty good press push for the movie. So yeah, I think it did well.
That's great. Do you like the movie?
I love it. I thought it was hilarious. I have a young daughter, so it was kind of a lot of the movie is about parenting a daughter as they come to age and the appropriate way to allow women to branch out and then explore their sexual identity. And so I thought it was good.
That's
great.
It's
also super hilarious.
It's interesting too that you call it blockers when it's clearly the writer's intention was to call the movie cock blockers, but they couldn't call it cock blockers. So instead they have a photo of a rooster.
Yeah, it took me a second.
Yeah, it did for me as well.
And I felt sad that it took me a second.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think it's really funny. It grew on me. What was it called? Originally, I believe it was called The Pact.
Oh, interesting.
That's what I did.
That sounds like a horror movie or something.
Yeah, right. But it was like that they had made a sex pact.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
And then a few months after we shot the movie, I got this email and they're like, hey, just so you know, they're going to be going with a different name for the movie. They want to call it Cock Blockers, but you can't call it Cock Blockers, obviously, because of standards. You can't just put posters up and say cock.
Right.
So it's going to be the picture of a rooster and then blockers. And it was like, what?
That's so funny.
What are you talking about?
Are they sending this out for your approval? Or are they sending this out?
Well, I was just the limo driver. I don't know why you guys.
Well, you do stuff with Rooster Teeth, so you know about roosters. Does that work?
And but I do also know that they're like the Rooster Teeth guys are like, we wish we did not name ourselves Rooster Teeth. If they could change anything.
Oh, really? Why?
I think it's just because it's like
it doesn't make
a lot of sense, and I think it does. Yeah. It is a play off of cockmouth. Rooster Teeth.
I never put that together.
I think that's where it comes from. I think it's like the origin. I'm not quite sure, so maybe I'll get a bunch of tweets telling me otherwise. But
I guarantee you.
But I do know I've heard them just be like, yeah, maybe we could have come up with like a cooler name.
Well, that's interesting.
But Rooster Teeth is where it is.
It's specific.
Yeah, it'll be that forever now.
Oh yeah.
You wrote for Key and Peele for a while.
I did.
Yeah, you did a ton of stuff with them. Is there ever a sketch that you wrote that aired that you wish you could go back and change?
One that I wrote that I could go back and change?
Or one that you were in that you were like, I wish I had did this a little differently?
No, I loved everything about that show. I can't think of anything that I would have changed.
Then flip it. What's your favorite sketch that you've written?
The favorite sketch that I wrote on Key and Peele it's probably a sketch called Lil Homie. Mm-hmm. And in Lil Homie is a sketch where a guy goes to talk to his parole officer to check in with him, and his parole officer is played by Jordan. He's like, I'm your parole officer. I'm gonna talk to you about stuff. I'm a little straight laced. This guy, Keegan was playing a character, kind of thugged out guy, and he's like, so you don't need to talk to me. I want you to talk to somebody you feel comfortable with. Yeah. And then he pulls up a puppet. Oh no. That's named Little Homie. He's like, hey man, it's me, Little Homie. And Little Homie tries to get him to smoke weed and to like do crimes. That's my favorite sketch.
That's really funny.
I think the police could actually legitimately use that.
Yeah, they should have little puppets to like interact with the community.
Yeah, oh my God. Much more approachable, relatable. Oh, it'd be great. Are you legitimately all about HQ trivia?
I love HQ trivia. I was so mad because it takes me. I'm in Atwater Village, so I had to leave a little earlier to get here on time, and HQ started while I was driving in the car.
No.
Sorry, Colton.
And I debated. I was like, well, I can get off the freeway real quick. And I've done this before. I have gotten off the freeway, parked the car, and just like, I have not won once on HQ trivia. No winning.
What's the closest you've gotten?
Gotten to question 10.
Oh,
Man.
that's flirting with the
question
devil.
10.
Wow.
That must hurt.
But
That's
I
enough to
love
keep you
HQ
playing.
Trivia. It's so great.
It's a genius thing. It's so smart.
Yeah.
I don't know how it sustains itself. I have no idea what they're doing.
I don't
to,
either.
Like,
I
there's
feel
just,
like-
I keep listening for ads. Like, oh,
I
maybe
think-
there's like some ads
where
in
are
the
the payouts
questions.
coming
Or,
from?
I think they are doing ads, but it's so
Subliminal.
subvert that it's like buried in questions where whenever they talk about, because Brooks plays all the time, I don't play. He gets very upset when he misses it as well.
Yeah.
You can hear like specific products being named, or when they have like
Okay.
people that are
really interesting.
when they have like guest people come on and like guest host with him that are like promoting their film.
Sure.
I feel like the studio's paying for them to get placed on HQ Trivia.
makes
That's
sense.
pretty clear. Like that one,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, they have the voice people on. It's like
Right.
a $50,000 thing. Like clearly, this is some product
Yeah.
integration. But yeah, I keep listening. I'm like, but I think it's because I'm focused so hard on trying
the
to get the
trivia.
question right,
Right.
that I'm not picking up that they might be
Subliminally,
advertising to me, and
you're
it's a
going-
genius thing, and
and now
I'm
you're
totally
buying-
going to give into it.
You're buying Tide Pods all day and you don't
Yeah,
know
I'm
why.
like, why buy all these Tide Pods,
Yeah.
man?
Would you ever take a job like Scott's job on HQ?
Oh, no way. Every day?
Every day.
2 times a day.
Yeah, that's
And-
crazy.
And I'm not bad at a teleprompter.
Sure.
But I mean, he is great at
When-
teleprompter, and he is just gunning through all those questions.
And when things
like,
glitch and you have to like hold like
fill time.
fill time.
and you know who else
Yeah,
I
that's
feel
the
bad
key to
for? When
hosting.
he's not there.
the
When
guest
he's
host,
not there and the
that-
guest hosts are there, and they're great, they do a great job, but the people in the
People
comment
hate them.
sections are just destroying them.
I mean, Rooster
Yeah.
Teeth has intense audience members, but
Yeah.
like I've
Oh,
looked at comments
H-cuties.
being like, the H cuties aren't so
they
cute.
get ugly. The H cuties get ugly.
That's really funny.
It's so, and I feel so bad. They say such vicious, like vile, hurtful
Yeah.
things.
Wow.
And it's like immediate. Like Scott, my little brother and his boyfriend like want to marry Scott so hard that's what they play all day just to look at him. And I'm
that's
like,
funny.
this is nuts. I heard Scott like moved back to his like parents' house and then booked this job because he like wasn't working in New York, and then all of a sudden this thing blew up like
Oh,
crazy.
that's great. That's
yeah, I
great
was like,
for
that
him.
makes me happy. But I can't imagine how stressful it is to do it
He
twice a
does
day.
a great job. He does a great job at it.
He's pretty awesome. I was looking at your Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
You post a lot of cooking. Are you?
I do.
Are you into that?
Yeah, I love to cook, and I do like a lot of those, like Sunbasket or Green Chef, where they like
Oh,
send you the
yeah.
ingredients and the
Yeah, those are
directions.
great.
Oh,
and-
we're big Blue Apron people.
okay, yeah, I love Blue Apron.
Yeah.
And so
And now we just did an ad.
And
It's
Hello
so
Fresh.
easy. Yeah, there we
Hello
go.
Fresh is
Yeah.
great. But I really enjoy it. It's relaxing for me to
Yeah.
kind of just come home and just sort of like cut ingredients up and
Also, just to know that you're not making waste
yeah.
when you cook with those. Oh.
As long as you cook with them.
Yeah, true.
If you there's a couple times where I'd like just a week where I get lazy and I don't cook the meals, and
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, yeah,
like,
and they
oh
go-
man,
they go
I am-
bad.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah,
like, what
then-
a dick! I
yeah.
just ruined everything.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love cooking, and now that I've done those, the one nice thing about especially like Blue Apron and those ones is that you actually pick up.
Yeah, you kind of learn how to cook.
You start learning,
Yeah, you
and
learn
so then you can,
techniques.
and so then you can be like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and make this quinoa on my own.
Yeah.
And,
It makes you feel like an independent adult.
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
nothing more empowering than being able to cook and properly pronounce the word quinoa.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a
Feel grown
transition
up.
into
Yeah,
adulthood.
right.
Now, you're a regular on Superstore,
Mm-hmm.
but what was your first job before you got paid for comedy? Or did you go right from comedy sports into getting paid for comedy?
No, definitely not. My very first job was in high school, and that was at Brugger's Bagels
Ooh.
Nice.
in Minnesota. I worked at a bagel shop, and
Did they make the bagels in-house?
they made the bagels there in the house. I didn't do that part of the job. I just worked at the front and would make people sandwiches, but it wasn't always busy. And I was in high school, so one thing that I would do is I would like make a sandwich and then stick it in my pocket, and then go in the bathroom and eat it. Like that was my big
like
perk.
a depressed girl. Like, I'm
Yeah,
just gonna
exactly,
eat
exactly.
quiet.
But I thought it excited me. I was like, oh man, I'm eating all the bagel sandwiches I want. And then I was a movie theater manager.
a manager at a movie theater.
Yeah, I worked my way up pretty quickly to become a manager and a projectionist at a movie theater in
Very
downtown
cool.
St. Paul. And then I was a video store manager in New York, and I worked
those
at
ancient ruins.
Yeah.
Which video store in New York did you work at?
I worked at TLC.
Yeah, sure.
And I worked at Kim's Video, and I worked at Two Boots Video. And if anybody goes into it, the Upright Citizens Brigade Beast Theater,
that's where I used to rent movies.
I worked there.
Two Boots.
Yep. So those almost all of the signs that they had, like hand drawn signs, that was like me and another guy.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Nice.
Where are those signs now?
I don't know.
It used to be really big.
Now?
Like that video store used to be really, really big.
You can still see the floor of where I stood so when I go to the Beast, I walk in and I can see like there's the outline of where my desk, where the counter was,
really,
and then like the floor, so it's
and now it's like a bar, and
it's just a bar
in the front of the UCB East.
But also, how weird that it was a movie theater that you worked in, and then became a comedy venue that you also worked.
I know that's very weird, right?
That's really strange. Do you have like an affinity for seeing old VHSs and things like that?
I do. When I see them, I don't ever see them anymore.
Right.
But I do. I used to, and I was like a collector. I used to have tons of videos, VHS, and and then when DVDs came out, like slowly was able to get my entire collection on DVD. And then probably about 5 years ago, I was just like, why? Like get rid of all this stuff.
Did you get rid of
I don't have anything. I don't have any except for like screeners that I get. Other than that, I don't really have any DVDs.
So minimalist. Is there, since you were such a collector, a show or a movie that hasn't had a remake that you wish would get a remake?
Oh, you know what? I was just talking to somebody about this, and I was like, I wonder if they're going to remake that. Oh, what was it? Voyagers. I don't know if you ever saw this show, Voyagers. It was a show where
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Okay, so Voyagers. If you Google search the TV show Voyagers, you'll find like this little like kind of Jewish looking kid in the 80s, and then a guy who kind of is dressed like a pirate.
Okay.
Right.
And him and this kid travel through time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And that's the show. They go from different time to different time, and they help people in that time, solve a problem.
Kind of like a quantum leap.
It's basically Quantum Leap if he had like this little kid with him the whole time, and he was like a time pirate or something.
That's amazing.
And they're not related.
No, I don't think they're related. Somehow they just have teamed up. I forget exactly how they got together, but yeah, they just hang out together and they travel through time.
I mean, they're helping humanity, sounds like.
I bet you could acquire the rights to this and reboot it yourself.
I bet you could do this.
All right. I think I could do that. Just me and some kid.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, get one of the Stranger Things kids.
Yeah.
They're blowing up now.
There we go. I like that.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get into some of these Twitter questions for Colton Dunn on Not Too Deep right after this.
Not too deep.
Surprise, surprise! Today's episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by our good friends over at Squarespace. Squarespace makes it easier than ever to launch your passion project, whether you're looking to start a new business, showcase your work, publish content, sell products, and more. Squarespace is the tool for you. With beautiful templates created by world-class designers and the ability to customize just about everything in a few simple clicks, you can easily make a beautiful website all on your own. And they have a powerful e-commerce functionality which lets you sell anything online, and analytics that help you grow your site in real time, and everything is optimized for mobile right out of the box, and there's nothing you have to patch or upgrade ever, which is great because I don't even know what any of that means. But if you do want to talk to someone who knows what that means, you can get their 24/7 award-winning customer support. Buying domains is simple with Squarespace. They empower millions of people, from designers to lawyers, artists to gamers, even restaurants and gyms, to turn great ideas into something real. Check out squarespace.com for a free trial. When you're ready to launch, use the offer code GRACE to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com. Offer code GRACE for 10% off.
Not too deep.
Support for Not Too Deep today comes from HelloFresh. It is a meal kit delivery service that shops, plans, and delivers your favorite step-by-step recipes and pre-measured ingredients so you can just cook, eat, and enjoy. You choose from 3 plans that include classic, veggie, and family. And each box is delivered right to your door in recyclable, insulated packaging and made of fresh, responsibly obtained ingredients and carefully selected from farms and high-rated, trusted sources. Plus, with the simple recipes outlined on pictured step-by-step instruction cards, you can feel confident in your cooking. They even have lots of one-pot recipes that require the most minimal cleanup, so you can spend less time planning your meals and grocery shopping each week and get that time back to do whatever it is that you do. I personally love this company. I love their program. I love their meals, their packaging. They make it super simple, but it's more I don't know, self-impressive. I feel proud of myself after I've made a meal instead of just ordering takeout. Plus, I have everything I need without wasting or buying too many of X number of Y ingredients or forgetting an ingredient. And guess what? For $30 off your first week of HelloFresh, go to HelloFresh.com/NTD30 and enter the code NTD30 to get $30 off your first week. That's HelloFresh.com/NTD30. Offer code NTD30 for $30 off your first week of HelloFresh. And we're back with Colton Dunn on Not Too Deep. Okay. Yeah.
He's got to get his microphone situated.
Hey, sorry about that.
Welcome back.
As you know, we have a ton of really amazing and thoughtful and insightful, hopefully, Twitter questions for you. But before we get into that, I'm going to ask you 2 questions I ask every guest that's on the podcast.
Got it.
And the first one is, who, alive or dead, would you most want to throw cold spaghetti at?
Throw some cold spaghetti at Donald Trump.
That makes complete and utter sense. No follow-up questions. And the second question I ask everyone is to tell us your worst pants shitting story or close call, but you can only use 3 words or 3 small phrases. So mine is college, jogging, front lawn.
Okay. Maybe birthday park shorts.
That sounds like a very beautiful poem, too. I like that. All right. Well, now let's get into these Twitter questions. Someone wants to know, would he ever consider directing an episode of Superstore?
I mean, I don't know. I possibly, but it's a lot of work, you know? And so I definitely, there's part of me that, like, just because I love the show, I would love to do it. Yeah. But there's also part of me that does not like to work a lot and likes to, like, chill out and, like, relax.
So
and, like, when they say cut, I like to go home. And
play
the director,
Fortnite.
like, has to stay, play Fortnite. Yeah, the director has to, like, stay there and, like, edit stuff. So maybe. Let's see if I can find some motivation.
Would you get into the world of directing in general? And that, or is that
I mean, I've directed stuff before.
Yeah.
So
you know it's a lot of work.
I know it's a lot of work, you know, and but I could, you know, it's just it would I guess it would depend on the project.
That makes sense. That's a very professional answer. Someone wants to know, if you could do a guest spot on any current TV show, which would it be, and who would your character be?
Oh man, guest spot on any TV show. Okay, Westworld.
Oh, nice.
And I would be a samurai robot.
Yeah. I think that's great. Yeah. What are you watching right now? Other than obviously Westworld.
Yeah, I'm watching Westworld. Watching Handmaid's Tale. I'm watching. I just started watching the show called Lucifer.
Oh.
Because my wife's mother-in-law really my wife's mother, my mother-in-law really likes it.
That's nice.
And let's see, what else do I watch? Those are the big ones that I watch.
Have you gotten into Queer Eye yet?
Oh, the new one?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it yet, but I hear it's great.
Pretty great.
Yeah, it's like, it was like dominating all conversation for a good 2 weeks when it came out.
I just try and like slip it into every episode.
People said it's different than the original.
It is
the
very
original
different.
one was like real silly.
It's much more inspiring. This one's also silly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it has silliness to it, and then all of a sudden you're smacked with like a very sincere conversation, and it's like but it's great. It's not too much. I just love it so much. I just want to be friends with those guys. Okay, how do white people feel about high fives? Discuss. And then there's a photo of you high fiving.
A photo of me?
Mm-hmm.
High fiving who?
I can't tell. It's blurry on here. It could be anyone.
Well, I high five.
Okay.
I think white people love high fiving.
Yeah, we love it.
I mean, white people high five a lot.
We're huge fans.
Too much.
I believe there's even there was an old sketch called High Fiving White Guys.
Oh, that's probably what he's referencing.
That's probably because I was like, this seems specific to something you've done before.
I mean, I didn't have anything to do with the sketch. I can't remember what sketch show it was from, but I do remember a sketch, and the sketch was just like a herd of white guys just like constantly high fiving each other. But yeah, I think white people love high fives a lot.
Fair.
We do.
There we go.
Just happened. How did he enjoy his time on Parks and Rec and working with Amy Poehler?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Amy Poehler fan.
Wow, scandalous.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, right. That's a hot take.
That's a very rare opinion.
But and obviously I worked at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, which she helped start. So it was a blast to work on Parks and Rec.
So did you know her like way back in '97?
Sure.
Like
I mean, I didn't like
know
her. She was just like one of the
founders.
people of the theater. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What's been the most intimidating job that you've been on? Or like the most nervous you've been for a gig?
I think probably the most nervous that I was when they brought back the Arsenio Hall show.
Right, yeah.
And I wrote on that. And I was really like nervous to meet Arsenio Hall.
Yeah, how'd that go?
And I was like, oh, I hope this goes well. And then it went great because he's like super funny and super chill guy.
Yeah,
so
he's like a total professional too.
Yeah.
That he's just like a master.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, how long did you do that for?
Just a few months, and then I went back to Key and Peele.
Gotcha.
For our second season.
What's been like the most intense writing situation that you've been in? Was it that too?
Like most intense. I mean. I guess probably the most intense writing situation would have been a show that I wrote for called Ain't That America with Lil Duval.
Oh,
you guys know who Lil Duval is?
No.
Unfamiliar.
Okay. It was an MTV2 show, and Lil Duval's a stand-up comedian. And it was just like we had to watch. It was one of those clip shows where they watch like people falling off of stuff, or things like that. And so we would just have to watch hundreds of these like online videos and then write, 50 jokes per video.
Oh, that sounds exhausting.
But the thing is that Lil Duval's a stand-up.
Right.
He's already funny and he can be funny on his own. So we'd like spend like just days writing all these jokes, and then we give them to him and he'd be like, whatever, man. And then do his joke, which is fine, because it was his show. And so, but it was perfect.
Yeah,
but it was the writer's room on that show was just like tons of work.
So did that turn you off at all from the world of like online video after I'm sure that for a second you were like,
it definitely turned me off of clip shows. I
can't imagine.
And writing for jokes for those.
Yeah.
But I'll still watch online video. Like a lot of times I'll go into a bar and they'll have like Chive TV or something on, and I'll just sit there and just watch people snowboarders like fall and stuff like that.
Right.
I think it's good for the brain. Yeah. You use your Twitter and Instagram like more than I think a lot of other like actors do sometimes. Do you like social media? Is that something you like participating in?
Yeah, I enjoy it. I'm not really on Facebook too much. I have like a Facebook fan page, but I got off of Facebook a while ago personally, and so just immediately I was like, well, but I'll do Twitter and Instagram. They're completely different, right? Even though it's just the same thing.
It's just
different.
A decomposed.
Yeah. But I like it. I love it. I love being able to like get a response if I want one. But I also like the idea that I could just like tweet whatever I want and then just not even look at what anybody's responses are and like go about do my thing.
Is there anyone that you follow on Instagram or Twitter that's like your number one? Either if it's like a hate follow or that you're like genuinely they're so good.
You know what? There was and she stopped tweeting, but there was like somehow I started like following this girl, and she was like a high school girl. I was gathering, but she was really funny.
Oh, really?
I can't remember. I want to say it was like VHS Shapes or something like that. And she was so funny, and she like would just have funny takes on everything. But she hasn't really tweeted too much, so I don't see that one anymore.
Oh no, someone go check
and then,
in on her.
And then on Instagram, it's I follow a lot of product lines on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah,
Like
tech
what?
products and just like, or like, like this thing for my phone case is called 12 South. Like I follow them. People who like decorate their houses or something. Like, I just love that. I just love like looking at cool vacation places.
So
like,
basically, your Instagram feed is everyone's like sponsored ads that pop
yes,
up.
like
and that's your
straight
whole
up.
feed.
I straight up like I'll see an ad, I'll be like, oh, that's cool. Then it says sponsored, and I'm like, oh, and I'll go follow them.
Oh, wow.
So you're the demo. Yeah, you're why they do that to us.
They
I'm the
love
guy,
you.
and I'll buy their shit. I'll buy it.
Wow.
What's the weirdest thing?
Thank you for helping keep Instagram free.
Yeah, exactly. What's like the strangest thing that you've like? I buy too much stuff online. Have you ever had a purchase show up that you're like, oh, I bought that, I forgot?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I bought so many ridiculous things. I bought and multiples.
Okay.
Like I bought one thing. This is more practical, but it's still kind of funny because this just happened. Like, there was like a larger than normal earthquake a few weeks ago. And so I was like, and I have this little earthquake kit.
Right.
And so I went to check on it and realized that some of the stuff had expired. So I was like, well, I got to order another earthquake kit. And then there was like another smaller earthquake, like a little bit after that. And it was early in the morning. And I think I must have just like been like, oh, I got to order an earthquake kit, and forgot that I ordered it. And so I got an earthquake kit, and then I came home yesterday and there was a box on my thing. And I was like, is this another earthquake kit?
You can never get too prepared.
So now I have 2 earthquake kits. So like I can take care of up to 16 people at this point.
Wow.
For a week.
At my house for a week,
Yeah.
which is I think all you'll need, right?
Well, what's in an earthquake kit? Because I don't actually have one, and I know I need to get in on this.
Oh.
My friend Hannah, who is very prone to heightening a sense of emergency about everything, spent a
being
dinner
prepared. Yeah.
Sure, that too. She spent a whole dinner explaining to me like why I need earthquake kits and like how important it was, and she was so emphatic that I was a little drunk after dinner and went home and like $300 on Amazon later got like my dog's earthquake kit, got like 2 giant boxes. I haven't opened.
What's in it?
I haven't opened it.
Well, I have a thing called it's basically like a honey bucket, and so it's this bucket, and inside the bucket there's like a crank, flashlight, radio.
I got all that.
There's like these like little food blocks that are like you can eat.
Like the high calorie, so you don't
There's
die
those
food.
kinds of things. There's
non-perishables.
There's like stuff that you can put in the water to kind of clean it.
Yeah, like purify it if you need to.
There is, and then after you empty the whole bucket out, you can actually poop and pee in the bucket. There's like a little toilet seat on it.
See, I don't have that one.
Yeah. And so,
wow, that sounds fancy. How expensive is this?
I mean, it's about I think it goes anywhere between like $80 and $100.
Okay.
And that's for
seems
4
reasonable.
people. But then you also have to have a go bag.
Right.
So that's like your go bag is like an earthquake kit, but a little bit smaller that you could put on your bag. And if you have, when you got to leave,
You gotta bug out.
When you
you
really
gotta bug
go.
out. So you gotta have like water in there, and the water
Sure.
needs to be in these like metal bags so that they stay better, a little longer.
See,
like
I haven't
this.
gone this far.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just
I feel
assume-
so unprepared now.
Yeah,
I
you
need to
should feel
go
that
get
way.
some
Got
stuff.
long range walkie talkies.
Whoa,
too,
you
so
are
that-
fully
yeah.
prepared. Are you into like doomsday prepping and that sort of
I'm
thing?
not like into it, but
Just
like,
You want to
I'm
be prepared.
a
for your
reasonable
I just
future.
human
want to be
being.
prepared. The one thing that have not been able to do because my wife won't let me is I was like, well, I want to get a motorcycle.
Same.
Because not to like be cool, 'cause
Right,
I honestly don't like. I'm not big into motorcycles or think that they're cool. But if there was a problem,
Yeah, if you need to get out,
you need to get out. A
easily.
motorcycle's the best way to do it.
Absolutely.
You don't wanna be in a car.
100%.
Like you watch Walking Dead.
Yeah.
It's always just
Lines of cars.
abandoned,
Abandoned.
zombies in them.
You could get a bicycle if that might.
That's not as cool
That's not as
to
cool, dude.
I acknowledge that it's not as cool.
I'm just post-apocalyptic,
but I'm
pedaling
saying.
around.
Now I'm just tired and eating all my like food rations immediately.
True.
Also, I didn't know that they went bad so quickly. I need to check my emergency
you gotta
kits
check.
now.
I mean, they last for a while, but
I just assumed they lasted for like years and years.
So did I.
I guess not.
I got to refresh that stuff.
I gotta go check it. Yeah, I got a bag for my dog that literally is like transfers into a backpack because she's very aggressive and doesn't get along with like other humans. Okay. So it like in fight or flight mode, I'm just shoving her in this bag and throwing her on my back.
Oh, wow. You're going to carry her around
I thought you
back?
had a bag of supplies for your dog. You have a bag to put the dog in.
I have both. I have both because Amazon recommended when I bought the bag of supplies, maybe you need the dog bag too for the
carry
dog.
the dog. Okay.
And you're like, of course I do.
Because I imagine.
Add to cart.
Yeah, I imagine that by the time this happens, like when they say mom gets superhuman strength when she has to lift a car off of like her child, that I'll be that strong and be able to do that.
You'll be able
Goose.
to carry.
Yeah, this like
you're
fucking wrecking ball
heavy.
of a dog. Yeah, she's like 40 pounds.
Oh my God.
I'll do it. I'll be so strong. Someone wants to know, what would his drag name be?
What would my drag name be?
Yeah, that's
man.
a tough question. I don't
Those
even know.
Those are always like a pun, right?
They're usually a pun. Yeah. Some of them are, pretty straightforward, but they're usually a pun.
Okay. Huge Jack woman? Like Hugh Jackman?
That's pretty good.
That's really, really good. If that doesn't exist already, you got to trademark that for yourself because that's
good.
Really good.
How long have you been a drag queen?
She performs you're at the Abbey every Wednesday. Someone wants to know, do you get good Kids in the Hall stories from Mark?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, Mark McKinney, who is on Superstore, was also a member of Kids in the Hall. And he always has like fun Kids in the Hall stories and Saturday Night Live stories. He's been doing comedy forever. And obviously, as somebody who does like sketch comedy, it was like, having, a god be on the show.
He's a legend.
He's like a legend,
I can imagine like fanboying, fangirling over that scenario.
Yeah, but you know what? He's also like the chillest, coolest guy. He plays video games with me. We play video games a lot together. And every time there is a Kids in the Hall fan that shows up, he's always super excited to talk to him.
That's great.
He was on a show called Slings and Arrows, which is like
he
one of
he created that show.
I know, one of my absolute favorite shows of all time.
Yeah. I believe I think there might be another one coming out.
Really?
I think so. Maybe I'm not supposed to say
breaking.
That. So exciting for
or
me.
Maybe not.
Or maybe not.
Or maybe not. Who
or
knows?
Maybe not.
I mean, everything is possible and nothing is possible.
Well, I guess you put it that way.
Yeah.
Now I'm less excited, Grace.
You were saying that you guys all genuinely get along on set.
Oh yeah, the cast of Superstore is
do you guys
awesome.
do have like goofs and spoofs and pranks and things like that?
Lots of goofs and spoofs. Lots of pranks. I wouldn't say too many pranks, but we definitely have a lot of fun on set.
Which is nice.
And even like a lot of like times where if somebody like starts singing a song, kind of with another person will like join in, and then all of a sudden the whole cast is like singing a song, and then the cameraman would start singing. It's like a super fun casting crew.
Great.
It's really fun.
That's really nice. Yeah, when you feel that connected, then you look forward to going to work every day.
Exactly.
That's really great. Do you have any like, not bizarre, but like when people stop you on the street, are there any like interesting fan interactions or people?
Well, yes, yeah, definitely. We'll have some of the more interesting ones are when like, because again, like I was a writer for a long time, so
yeah,
not really my thing wasn't like, oh, I hope people on the street will know who I am or something like that. And so it still kind of weirds me out. So like, one of my favorite things to do is always to like, get up on like a Saturday or a Sunday and like not put on normal, keep my pajamas on and then just like go hang out at Best Buy or something and like just check stuff out.
Yeah.
But like I can't do that anymore, because people recognize me and I look crazy. And so, I can't do that. So that's a bummer.
So your fame is ruining your favorite hobby.
Can't go into a Walmart or like a Sam's Club, right?
I can go into it, but there is going to be one of the employees who's like, what? That guy can walk? And like, they're freaking out. So I can't do that. But then like more like some of the more funny ones though are that, because people don't, when you see somebody, and this happens to me and I'm sure happens to you guys, like when you see somebody who from a show sometimes your brain tells you that you just know this person.
Yes.
And
we were just talking about this before.
Yeah.
That you don't connect right away. You just like, oh yeah, we're
and I get that so much. People be like, dude, where do I know you from? And you want to be kind of humble, and so you're like, oh, I don't know. Where did you go to school? And they're like, oh, I went to school in Florida. I'm like, well, I'm not from Florida. Like, oh man, no. And like one guy, this is one of my favorite ones, is this guy who goes, he's like, I know you from somewhere. And I was like, well, I'm an actor, so I've been on, some TV shows. He's like, no. He's like, do you work at the Target? And this is like, and I'm in Austin. He's like, do you work at this Target? And I'm like, no, but the show that I'm on, I work at a store. It's at a store that's like Target. And he just goes, nah. In the kind of a mean way, and then like turned away and like did his own thing. And my wife was there, and she was like, "What the fuck was that?"
Oh my god,
he's like, "Why won't you fess up?"
Yeah, fess up. You work at the Target.
And then he went and told his wife, "That guy's a weirdo.
I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind next time I go to Target."
Yeah. Have you ever had that kind of like fanboy experience seeing someone in Los Angeles that you're like a major fan of?
That I was really super excited about. This wasn't in Los Angeles, but it was on a plane just recently because I just watched 3 Billboards.
Yeah.
And I got onto a plane, and what's his name was in the front. He plays the cop, like the kind of racist cop who like.
It's
I'm blanking, but he's nominated for every.
Yeah, he's just like, and he's just great. He's always great. Everything he does, you're always like, that guy's cool, man.
Yeah.
And
why
like
am I blocking his name? I love him. He's like one of my favorite actors.
I know.
Sam Rockwell. Thank you.
So Sam Rockwell stands up and like he's obviously he's in first class. It's Sam Rockwell, right?
Yeah.
So he like stands up, and I'm like, oh. And I like look to the side, and the guy sitting next to me like looks over at me, and he's like.
I would have
like, oh, cool.
I would have done the same thing. I'm a huge fan. I've been a fan of his for like 20 years.
He's always so good. It's like every time he shows up, it's something you're like, oh, this guy's gonna be cool, man.
Yeah, you feel safe and comforted because but that's so fun as a grown man have that experience with someone else. Someone wants to know, would you rather have arms for legs or legs for arms? The classic question.
Arms for legs or legs
for arms?
I guess I'd do arms for legs, right? Because
yeah.
Then you run around like a spider.
Yeah, because I'd still have, because then I could like do a whole bunch more stuff. Thumbs. And you could you'd eventually just get, you'd be able to get strong enough to walk around on your leg arms. But you could also like grab stuff. You'd be like a monkey, Like,
you could turn upside down
easily.
Oh
yeah, definitely arms for legs.
Done and done.
What a dumb question. It's so obvious.
Jesus. One answer. So I want to know, if you could live in a superstore, what would be the first thing you would do once the store was empty?
If I could live in a superstore, first thing I do when the store is empty.
Let's say you sound like you're a really tech savvy guy. Like you like tech, you like electronics.
Sure.
If you had to spend a night in a Best Buy without being seen in your pajamas by anyone, what would you do?
I'd probably just get like a bunch of Blu-rays and go into their like audio, audio visual like section and just like watch like really like cool movies, like really loud. Yeah.
What's your favorite movie? I mean, you probably don't have just one.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of like favorite movies. I love Star Wars, so definitely Empire Strikes Back would probably be one of my more favorite movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like waiting for them to release like the original theatrical version of that movie.
Yeah, keep waiting. I don't know if it's ever gonna happen, man.
But I think it should, because I think it would sell pretty well.
I think it would too, but I think it would too. I think people, I'd go see it. I'd go see it a bunch of times.
Because I have it on VHS, but it's like the old VHS and it's like letterboxed, so it's like impossible to watch.
Yeah.
But you can't get like a high def version of that movie without like all of the extras.
All the bonuses.
Yeah.
Do you have an ideal project that you haven't worked on yet?
An ideal project that I haven't,
or like a dream project?
I'd love to be Martian Manhunter in a Martian Manhunter movie.
Okay.
That'd be fun.
Wait, that rings a bell, but what
He's like
was
this
that?
green superhero
Oh,
from
yeah,
Mars.
that's right. I do remember that. Yeah, he was a comic book character.
Yeah.
That's right.
Wait, is that Looney Tunes?
No, that was Marvin the Martian.
No, that's Marvin the
Okay.
Martian.
Yeah,
There's
no.
many
I'd do
variations.
that
Martian-
project too. I definitely, I wouldn't turn that one down.
Yeah,
but-
Martian Man. I remember that was like a comic book. I remember
Yeah.
reading those like in the 90s.
Yeah, I like Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, okay.
Pretty great. Someone wants to know what's the stupidest thing you've done with Dina?
The stupidest thing I've done with Dina.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'm assuming that they're talking to me as Garrett, the character.
I guess so,
And
yes.
Dina, the stupidest thing that Garrett and Dina have done. I mean, there's an episode where they have sex multiple times in Glenn's office. I think that was kind of
seems
silly.
pretty dumb.
Yeah.
It seems pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Also, your wife just became a nurse, right?
Yes, she did. Yeah, she just
Congrats.
got she just passed her NCLEX and she's still going to school to become an NP, but yeah, she is now a nurse. So
That's
I have to
cool, but it must be
eat
nice.
very healthy now.
I was gonna say, are you more cautious of all of
Well, you can't get into any kind of health argument with a nurse, like
Yeah, you'll lose everyone.
everyone.
Yeah.
She knows like how your metabolism works. Like there's
Yeah.
no, you can't be like, oh, but this is, it says fat free. And she's like, well, that doesn't mean that it's healthy. That means it has more, and you're like, okay, well,
Do you guys have
What
a
do you-
safe word of when you get too deep into like a health conversation that you both agree to
no, but
disagree?
we definitely should.
Establish
We
one
definitely
right
need
now.
a safe word because she like we were talking about what you follow on Instagram. She'll
Yeah.
follow things on Instagram that show like wounds and like operations and stuff.
Get
Yeah,
out of
I
here.
And like it'll be in the morning, like we'll like just woken up, and she's like, "Oh, that's so interesting." And I'll be like, "What?" And she'll be like, "This," and it's like somebody's skin peeled back on their hands, so you can see like their tendons moving. And I'm like, "What the? Why are you showing this to me?"
That's crazy.
You don't think this is interesting? No, I'm not a nurse.
Veto.
Yeah, that's gross. No, thank you.
But she's great, very funny.
But it also must be kind of refreshing and nice to be married to someone that isn't in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, I mean, she was an actor for a long time, but
So she gets it.
she gets it. Yeah, she
That's
she
good.
definitely gets it, which is great. But it is, and it's also just fun to be in a relationship anytime, but with somebody who's got like passion and drive,
yeah,
and
those
is like
qualities.
motivated. Not that anybody else that I had ever dated wasn't, passionate or motivated, but, there's, it's definitely
Especially when you've admitted multiple times on this podcast that you are very lazy.
fair enough. But I've earned it. I work hard when I need to.
Oh
and,
no, that's the insane hours of acting are like bonkers of being on set.
Yeah, they
that
are.
doesn't like translate to like actually working in like a Target or something like that.
No, that's much harder work than anything that I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a good balance. It seems like it's very yin yang. We're coming to the end of the podcast, Colton. Thank you so much for being here.
Okay, I did want to say
Yeah.
that it's Laurel.
Thank you.
Oh, we were
I was
talking,
gonna
yeah.
ask you that, but it is okay. We're all in agreement then.
I could not hear Yanni
Brooks only
or
heard-
Yanni or
I
whatever.
didn't hear it at all. My
couldn't-
wife heard it, and she demanded that I was wrong.
I couldn't hear it.
And then for 10 minutes, she finally went, "Oh, I hear Laurel."
No, Brooks is the same thing. All last night he was like Yanni, 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 and then I'm getting texts today. He's like, now I can only hear Laurel.
I was trying so hard to hear Yanni and I
Yeah.
couldn't. I could only hear
But I'm
Laurel.
glad that we're all on the same page.
Yeah, good.
So
Yeah,
it's a safe
agreed.
space.
Great.
But we're going to give you, we make a custom fortune cookie for every guest that comes on the podcast.
Wow.
So you're welcome to open it and
Yeah.
read the fortune that's just for you. Oh, it's very good ASMR.
Yeah, nice. You could have been a Foley artist, Colton.
Oh, okay. I got
Really?
2.
Oh, or no.
Oh, it's a really long one. Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. A ghost was trapped in this fortune cookie, but you just let it out. That's kind. Oh, sweet.
So very sweet.
Be free, ghost.
Colton, where can people find you online?
Gotta
Yeah, get it.
Yeah, he's chowing down on that fortune cookie.
eat the fortune cookie. It doesn't come true.
Where can people find you on their TV, on their computer, etc.?
You can find me online at Captain Dope, CaptDope, and that's on
Really,
Twitter
I don't
and
know
Instagram.
how you got that handle. It's really great.
Fantastic.
Old handles, my old gamer tag, still my gamer tag. So you can find me on Xbox or PlayStation, also at Captain Dope.
There you go.
Facebook, just look for Colton Dunn. It's a fan page, so I won't be interacting with you really on it, but you'll get posts on there.
Sure.
And then you can watch Superstore. You can catch up on all the seasons at NBC.com. So check that out. Go see Blockers and go watch Laser Team 2 on iTunes.
That's awesome. Thank you, Colton, so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. We'll see you guys next time on Not Too Deep. Goodbye.
Bye.
Too deep, too deep, too deep, not too deep with Grace Helbig.
This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by Third Love. Armed with the measurements of millions of women, Third Love scrapped the standard bra cup molds and developed their own. They have sizes ranging from AA through G. They guarantee a perfect fit, plus returns and exchanges are always free. And Third Love knows that there's a perfect bra for everyone. So right now they're offering my beautiful listeners 15% off your first order. Go to thirdlove.com/grace now to find your perfect fitting bra and get 15% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/grace for 15% off today.
Not Too Deep is a production of Grace Helbig Incorporated.
Produced and directed by Jack Ferry.
Producer Melissa D. Mons.
With writing by Diane Kang. Audio support by Chris Henry.
Editing by Melissa D. Mons.
And an extra special thank you to Flula for the theme music.